Alright, with the name Burst Protocol, I was definitely seeing Revolver support since our previous set with Burst in the name is Revolver support. This time focusing more on his peer Rockets and a new Link 5, which is also the cover card and I find it awesome. So let's begin. So we start off with Rocket Loader, which is a level 4 Dark Dragon with 1400 attack and defense, and each effect is hard once per turn. The first one being if this card is no more special summon, you can add one level 7 Dark Dragon from your deck to your hand, but if you're going to summon from the extra deck for the turn, you are restricted for darks, which is actually pretty nice because those level 7s can be important for your Synchro plays basically, and also for certain other effects that need level 5s and highers, and the main ones that you want for this deck can special summon themselves, so it's just basically extended play here. With the second effect of you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one monster on the field and it becomes dark for the rest of the turn. Now if you're wondering why we have such an effect, it's just because of Borreload Dragon that can actually take control of one of your opponent's monsters into the end of the next turn, and sometimes it will not be dark, so just having the ability to change it into dark and then using it for material for other things is actually kind of nice. But more so, you're going to use it for the first effect. Next, we got a new bullet, which is Hollow Rocket Dragon. It's a level 6 Dark Dragon with 2400 attack, 1600 defense, which is actually kind of strong for a bullet dragon considering that you could actually special summon this through your bullet dragons, and quick launch as well. And just like the other bullet dragons, when it's targeted by a link monster by its effect, quick effect destroy it, and then the unique effect comes, where you activate the top 6 cards of your opponent's deck, choose one of them to banish, and then put the rest back in the same order. Basically, it's some sort of deck destruction, and it could be nice because it could destroy a key piece sometimes, especially before your opponent gets a search. But another key fact is that you know your opponent's next draw, so that can actually be a strong point there, but it's not completely necessary. In which the second effect, just like the other bullet dragons, where if it blew up during the turn, during the end phase, you can special another bullet dragon that is not self. And of course, both effects are hard once per turn. Just another bullet to add to your arsenal, so go ahead and run it if you want, but personally I'll run it as one. And then we go to a new level 7 Rocket Detonator, which is a level 7 Dark Dragon with 1800 attack, 2500 defense, and having the rocket name as a level 7 is actually very helpful, mainly for the fact that you can search this, in which each effect is hard once per turn. The first one being if you control a Dark Dragon Link monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Typical making plays here, with the second effect of you can target one Dark Dragon monster from your spell and trap zone, special summon it, but it cannot attack during the turn and its effects are negated. And also dark monster restriction for your extra deck for the rest of the turn. You would think this would be for Salvage Dragon, but unfortunately Salvage Dragon is banned currently, especially when it comes to TCG, but it's also meant for the next new card as well. But more so, you might use it for the first effect, especially since it is a rocket, so it is actually playable for the deck when it comes to certain interactions. In which one of our new boss monsters is a new fusion, Borreload Fatal Flare Dragon, which is a level 8 Dark Dragon fusion with 2500 attack with 2000 defense, which is kind of weird to me that it's weaker than the regular Borreloads. Requires one Dark Link monster along with one Dark monster, which makes it in technicality harder than Furious Dragon. But anyway, each effect is hard once per turn, with the first one being when this card's fusion summon, you can add one rocket card from your deck to your hand. Once again, a typical extra deck monster that just basically searches on summon. In which the second effect is that you can target one dark monster you control, equip one Dark Link monster that is in your graveyard or banish you into it as equip spell, and give it additional 500 attack. Kinda strange that we're adding a little more equip, and Salvage Dragon does not get any extra bonuses from this equip, just keep that in mind. But this does in a way put another Link monster on board, while boosting attack of one of your monsters, because it doesn't have to be itself. And it's mainly because of the third effect, where if this card is used as Link material and sent to the graveyard, you can target one card your opponent control and destroy it. So for our new Borrelode monster, this is just basically made as a setup card than anything, which is kind of strange to me since Borreloads are usually boss monsters. But it's overall not too bad, just for extra searching and additional bonuses. But considering that it's a fusion for a Link based deck, I don't know if it's worth running or not, but I might give it a try. And now to the new evolved Borreload Dragon itself, not a fuse of the 3, Borrel Shroud Dragon, which is a Link 5 Dark Dragon Link monster, left, bottom, bottom right, right, which just basically makes all good arrows and possibly extra Link if you put this in the middle. Requires at least 3 effect monsters, and your opponent cannot tribute this, meaning your opponent can't Kaiju this, which is actually a nice little protection. And it's just too bad this is technically its only protection, making the protection not as great as Borrelend. But the main effect is that once per turn during the main phase quick effect, you can target one rocket monster you control, then negate one of your opponent's face-up cards. and then destroy your monster. And your opponent cannot respond to this effect's activation. Which, yes, it is actually pretty good that your opponent cannot respond to this effect, but it's just too bad that this is main phase only because your other Borrel Link monsters can do it during any time of the turn. But it is nice that you can still negate one of your opponent's effect while still targeting one of your rockets, which can be your bullets that will blow itself up. And even if you don't use the effect, it will still summon another one in the end phase. In which I do have to say this, Borrelend could just straight up negate a monster effect and give you a special summon. But luckily, the last effect actually makes this card a little better and makes this much more usable, because once while it's face up on the field and it's the start of the battle phase, you can special summon one Link 4 or lower Borrel monster from your extra deck without any summoning condition. But this isn't treated as a Link summon, so just remember that. But this is actually pretty nice that you could just cheat out one of your other versions of your Borrelode Dragons that is Link 4 or lower, because those Link 4s are pretty powerful. So overall, it does have some strong points, mainly on the fact that the protection is cannot tribute, while also being able to cheat out your big boss monster, while still kind of retaining the original Borrelode Dragon effects to target one of your stuff, in addition to negating your opponent's stuff, just restricted to the main phase, which is the sucky part, but still overall pretty decent. Just not as strong as Borrelend though, because Borrelend goes full on offensive. And then we got a new Link 3, which is Borrelode Dragon, which is a Link 3 Dark Dragon with 2300 attack, left, bottom, requires at least 2 Dark Dragon monsters including a Rokket, and each effect is a hard once per turn. The first one being that if this card's Link summon, you can search your deck for a Rapid Trigger, Heavy Trigger, or Double Trigger, which is a new card, and add it to your hand. Basically, on Link summon, you can add your Ritual Spell or Fusion card from your deck to your hand, which is very helpful because the deck doesn't really have a way to search them, so now it does. And also keep in mind, this is a Link monster, in which the second effect is that you can target one face-up card you control, along with one Dark Dragon monster from your graveyard, destroy the monster that is on the field, and put the card from the graveyard to your hand. Basically, it's like a trading type effect, but this does help because this is a Link monster, so sometimes you will need regular level monster, especially for your ritual cards, so it does help here. But more importantly, it lets you search on summon for your fusion or ritual card, which the deck actually really needs. And now going over to the new spell, which is the only spell, Double Trigger, which is both a fusion and ritual spell, technically, but as a normal spell. So you activate one of these listed effects, but you cannot use the same effect at the same turn. The first section is that you do a fusion summon from your extra deck by using monsters from your graveyard, including a Rokket. And the second section is that you ritual summon a ritual monster from your hand by banishing monsters from your graveyard whose levels are equal or above the ritual monster. And you must also use a Rokket as a material. This is just nice being able to use your graveyard as material for both fusion and ritual play. It's just too bad that you can't use field as well, because that would be nice. But another thing about this card is that this one doesn't give protection for your newly summoned monster, unlike the original fusion and ritual spell. But still an overall decent card because you're just basically using materials from your graveyard to perform your plays. And it's searchable, in which we go to the last card, which is a trap, Barrel Reboot, which is a counter trap, and you can also play this from your hand by paying half your life, which sometimes you won't even do, but it does help. But its main effect is that when your opponent activates a spell or trap while you control a Rokket or Borrel monster, you negate that activation and you do set that card, and your opponent cannot activate it for the rest of the turn. If I remember correctly, Revolver did play Red Reboot, so basically this is just an archetype version of it that can also be searchable technically, but once again a random negate card that you might not even have room to run. But it is nice that it's a hand trap though. And so that's it for the first reveals of Burst Protocol with the cover card with the new Borrel Rokket support. What do you guys think of it? Overall, I just find it awesome and I'm definitely excited for it considering that I do play Rockets, especially seeing a new Link 5 which is just an evolution of the regular Borreload Dragon. Even if it's not as great as Borrelend Dragon in my opinion, it is still pretty awesome to see. Does feel kind of strange that they didn't just make a Link 6 to go up against Singularity, but not everyone needs to have a Link 6, especially since it is protagonist exclusive along with being main antagonist exclusive. So having a Link 5 is still fine to me. But in that, there's really not much to say here, and see you all next time because I am very excited for this.